What's up, guys? My name is Mad Squash 924. Welcome back to another episode of Night Call Part 28. You guys might notice I am under the weather. My voice is not all the way there. It's actually been going away, which is not great. So forgive me if my voice sounds bad. But the show must go on, and we have to go pick up Amelie Franconi. And yeah, it's weird. Just been a lot of out of breath, coughing, and then my voice has been going, so forgive me if it sounds not great. The passenger who enters your cab seems familiar to you. She gives you her address, and you start to drive. You glance back at her from time to time, trying to remember where you've seen her before. It's no use. Suddenly, she gives you a little pout, clearly annoyed by your insistent gaze. Sorry, your face seems familiar to me. She breathes an audible sigh. Could be. She pauses deliberately. I'm in porn. That's who she is. An actress. A former actress. You've seen her in a couple of movies a few years ago. That's probably why you recognize my face. Your mouth suddenly goes dry. Her eyes and voice show no sign of emotion whatsoever. She might as well have said she were a teacher or a dentist. Do you like it? A faint smile flickers across her face. Yes, I do. A lot. It's my job. I'm proud of what I do, actually. Thought I'd be lying if I said it was always easy, but given the state of the industry nowadays. And even then, sometimes it's... An illuminated shop window catches her eye. She stops for a moment. Especially with the parents at my son's school. Some of the fathers recognize me. She's watching you closely. Some of the mothers too, for that matter. She smiles. Usually I can see they're either amused or ashamed, which is too bad either way. What do you mean? Well, everyone loves porn. Even if you say you don't, the idea of porn, it's natural, actually. Well, personally, I think it's natural. But when you talk about it out loud, it gets people all worked up. Her eyes widen. Just admitting you watch it is an actual feat. These days, for example, the 25 to 35-year-old crowd is really into bisexual threesomes. 2 girls and a guy, 2 guys and a girl. But who'd be willing to admit they like it? That they watch it? That it turns them on? She answers with a shrug. She looks away. You sense she is being utterly honest. Afterwards, you know, she goes on with a faint smile. But that's no excuse for your lack of tact. The profession has changed a lot since then, and I want to bring about even more changes. She leans forward slightly. Before, actresses could count on working for a dozen years or so, 15 if they started young. They'd have a moment in the spotlight, and then it was over. The next career step was merely a slow decline. But nowadays, actresses have power, thanks to the media, to streaming, and Twitter. She catches her breath. You can sense she is full of energy, electrified by the discussion. I started my own production company and we make porn. She loves talking about it. You can see it in her face. Gender positive porn. Committed. Respectful. Some call it feminist, but I'm not sure that's how I describe it. Her voice is calm. A gleam of passion lights up her eyes. We shoot with pros. We are respectful of our bodies and personalities. Our actresses and actors are paid well. and they receive residual earnings. It's brand new at first, it's fresh, and it works. Zero tolerance when it comes to those dubious types, to wandering hands, to any assaults on the well-being of our actors and actresses. Respect, diversity, creativity. She lets out a sigh. I spend a lot of money defending our profession, going after sites illegally broadcasting our videos, making sure pirates are punished. She leans forward. But by the way, do you like that kind of porn? I'm just asking because I'm just curious about what people like to watch. It's not really my thing. It's great to talk about it, you know. Well, it's true, I hardly watch any. Hardly any. Yeah. You blush slightly. Come on, there's nothing to be ashamed of. You prefer younger women or older women? Yeah. Alright, fine. Do you watch movies? Do you read magazines? Yeah, I guess magazines. Magazines, but don't you... You know, it's not the Middle Ages anymore. She smiles. I like the pictures. There's no awful screenplay, no blah blah blah. Only images. There you have it. She's observing as you talk. Thanks. I haven't looked into that side of the business, but it might be worth it. She gives you a smile. Thanks anyway, and sorry for all the personal questions. You can't help reading in her eyes a touch of satisfaction, as if she enjoyed asking you all those questions. Before long, you arrive at the address your passenger had given you. You have troubles parking, none of the streetlights are working, and there's nothing stranger than an unlit Parisian street in the middle of the night. Your client gives a slight cough behind you. You wouldn't mind staying here until I'm in the building? They're doing work, the lights aren't working. She doesn't even finish her sentence. No problem. Thanks. I have to say, I've been feeling a little insecure lately. All of her energy suddenly seems to have vanished. She hesitates a moment as if she can feel your connection with the killer before speaking. I knew one of the victims of the serial killer. Natalie. I knew her pretty well, in fact. We worked together, and sometimes she babysat my son. You know, she was a great girl. It was... She starts talking about her friend. Who she was. Who she had been seeing. How she had changed just before she died. You make a mental note of the new information. I'll stay here until you're in the building, okay? Thank you. She hands you the fare and exits the cab slowly, crossing the street in the total darkness to the door of her building. You remember that night. The pain, the stab of the knife in your side. If only you had turned your head, you would have seen your assailant's face. Maybe they would have killed you that night. Maybe your attacker would have already spotted you in your cab. Your passenger waves to you as the building door closes. You wave back. Fear spreads slowly through your body. You breathe in slowly and drive away. Okay. I would say it's an unusual customer, but every customer we've had has been pretty unusual. Let's see here. We're not picking you up. I think we've met you before. Aren't you like over here or something? There you are. Yeah, we seemed, we've read this one. So we've picked you up, I don't recognize you, but I know I've seen you before. I don't think we've picked her up before. Because I want to pick up new people. Because every new person is interesting. They all have different things to tell about themselves. Okay, that's who we pick up. Could pick her up. She actually has a lot of information in her passenger log, but damn, she's annoying to talk to. Some people are just like that. Annoying. Aid Becky. She's heading home regardless. The passenger who enters the cab is a regular. Her name is Aid, or Ada. We'll say Ada. She is a psychic who occasionally goes home by cab. She slips into the back seat, her earrings jingling softly. She smiles and gives you her address, and you start the engine. Ada lets out a deep sigh. You look at her in the rearview mirror. Everything okay, Ada? She nods. Yes, I guess so. So. A rough day. And you? Same as usual. Ada manages a weak smile. You know, the two of us were in the same boat. Clients, that's all that matters. You have to agree with her. Like today, for example. This guy comes to see me about his company. You know, I'm part of a business network and all that, remember? Yeah, sure. She gives you a wink and goes on with her story. So this client comes to see me. He tells me he wants to retire. He wants his son to take over the business. He wants to know when he should do it. He drives the cars. He's used to it, you know. He knows what to do. Ada's gaze suddenly clouds over. He turns over the priestess, the empress, and the sun. He reaches for the fourth card and turns it over, and the moon. Her eyes widen. I ask him who the woman is the woman in the cards are referring to. He doesn't know. He hesitant, obviously, uncomfortable. I ask him if it's his mistress, but that's not it either. It's my daughter, he says, but she has nothing to do with it. He only wants to know about his son. Well, your son, I tell him, he isn't in the cards. She raises her voice a little. He won't believe me. His son has to be in the cards, he says. He's the only one who's going to inherit the business and no one else. Ada's voice suddenly is secretive in tone. Between the two of us, his son is a total deadbeat. But the client assures me things are different now. His son has changed. He's made progress. So I tap a finger on the cards and ask, who, then, is this woman? He's obviously uncomfortable, maybe more than when he was talking about his son. Either she is your lover or your daughter, I tell him. And the card says she's the person who should run the business. The priestess represents solidity, construction, the empress, intelligence and success, and the sun, fulfillment and achievement. And it all revolves around a woman who is close to you, the moon. But suddenly my client stopped believing the cards. She gives a short laugh. It's impossible, he says. His daughter is not cut out for the work, for all the responsibilities. She's younger, he says. She's smart, and she went to a good school in England and all, but the pressures would be too much for her. Do you think the cards tell the truth, or not? I ask. He's reluctant to answer. He doesn't want to say yes, you see, but he can't help it. The cards say your daughter should take over the company. You didn't draw a single masculine card. There's no connection whatsoever with your son. Ada sighs. Her house isn't far now. It's too bad for him. She shakes her head. You know, what's really sad is that my client, he's never going to give his daughter a chance. And his son, he's going to screw it all up. Her eyes suddenly glaze over. You pull up to her house. The lights are all off, but the glow of the TV flickers over the living room wall. The sound of Ada's voice hangs in the air. Take my son, for example. I know he's not a genius or anything, but he's a good kid. I taught him to respect people and to trust his heart. I love him, but I know his limits. She sighs. Anyhow, I'm going to go in and yell at him and then put him to bed. She pays her fare. But you're going to do great things. I can feel it. She gives you a smile, gets out of the cab, then walks over to her house. You start the cab when she closes the door. A delicate scent of Ada's perfume lingers in the air. It's interesting. Alright, let's pick up someone else. No suspects. You, I do not recognize. I will pick you up. Which is far away, but that's okay. Should probably pick up a guy anyway. We've only been picking up the ladies tonight. And I don't recognize him. Not the portrait, anyway. His name is Christophe Lirin. We've picked up a Christophe before. Have we picked him up before? I know we've picked up a Christophe before. Give me a second. Christophe Clarine. Okay, so it's a different one. Okay. A passenger slides into your cab. You instantly recognize him. The priest you'd have already driven. Ah, how lovely to see you again. Likewise. Really, what a nice surprise. He gives you an address, the same one as last time, and you start driving. It's funny, I was thinking about you this morning. I was talking with a colleague and I told him about our little swap. You sense that he is suddenly uncomfortable, tense. Something is wrong. He catches your eye. He is hiding something. May I make a confession? Yeah, go ahead. See, I think you have a sort of gift. Like an aura. I felt incredibly good after our last discussion. And that's why I'd like to talk to you about something. Something complicated. Do you remember the story I told you the last time? No. I had a widowed parishioner who was worried about being openly in love with a new woman. He didn't want to break the vows he had taken with his wife. Well, how can I put this? The story wasn't really true. Well, not entirely anyway. It wasn't a widower, but a priest. His voice plummets into his lowest notes and becomes almost a purr. Me. It's my story, and I haven't shared it with anyone. Except you. You are the first person to know, and the only person. He's almost shaking, and seems about to break down. Oh, so I lied. I asked your company if I could have you as a driver. I felt so much better after talking to you the last time. Talking to you opened my eyes. I cannot continue to carry the burden of this problem. Or rather, situation. He heaves a mammoth sigh. You're familiar with those sighs, as if a huge weight has suddenly been lifted from your chest. A gust of fresh air flowing into your lungs like you've opened up a grave for the first time in 10 centuries. My situation. I'm in love with a woman. He's speaking quicker now. It's liberating. Elise. His deep voice vibrates like a bow running quickly over a bass string. We've been in love for 3 years. She and her husband often came to our masses and local events. They're not from Paris, you see. They were looking to build a community, and were welcomed into our church. Her husband passed away, suddenly. Terrible illness. Just terrible. His eyes dart back and forth, as if he'd suddenly become blind.
She needed help, support. We became close. Too close, perhaps. What happened is all my fault. I didn't know how to react, how to say no, to stop. It was too late. That was 3 years ago now.
He pauses.
Now,
Words aren't coming easily this evening.
I love her and she loves me. You're driving me to her place where I sleep almost every night.
He's pale, shaken. It takes a few seconds to gather his thoughts.
This is all strictly prohibited, obviously. That's no news to you. I'm not supposed to love a woman, live with a woman, make with a woman.
He looks at you.
You understand, don't you?
You slowly nod.
I made a lifetime vow to God. I cannot abandon him here, now. But I love this woman.
He stops speaking. You pull over in front of the address he gave you. Same as last time.
I'm going to go up and mull this situation over. I'm sorry I do have bothered you with my problems.
It was no bother at all.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear you say that.
He smiles, but only on the outside. It's still shaking.
I'm going to go to her now. Do you...
It is a strange thing to see an adult on the brink of sobbing, and it makes you uncomfortable.
Can I see you again to talk? In spite of how I must look, I swear I feel better. Relieved.
Yeah.
Thank you. From the bottom of my heart. I must go. She is waiting for me.
He smiles, reassured. A few seconds later, he appears to be his usual calm self once again. He pays his fare, gets out of the cab, and walks away towards the entrance to the building. He closes the door slowly with care. Aw. I kind of want to see that guy again, see how that turns out. We're making money, though. We're at 300 some odd. Our rent is what? 160s or something? I think we've talked to her before. In fact, I'm almost certain we have. Yep, there she is. Okay. I'm not sure if we talked to that one. I'm just looking. The picture's weird, so it should come pretty easily if we have. I'm just taking a brief look. I mean, it's at the point now where almost every time we pick somebody up, we probably should look at the passenger decks to see if we have picked somebody up before. I actually didn't look and see if there was any suspects. There's not, though. Oh, I don't want the gas station. The hell? We don't need the gas station. Get out of here. The passenger's still here? Good. Jeez. All these different passengers just showed up randomly. Here we go. Camille Rivera and Antoine Pimetier. Okay. A couple gets in your taxi. If you add it up, their total age cannot be more than 40. They glance at each other nervously and occasionally grab hands affectionately. He speaks first. Despite being built like a tank, his voice is soft and a bit hesitant. Vincennes, please. You detect a southern accent. Oh, okay. Do you have an address?
The castle?
She gives him a look and tries again.
The metro station, actually.
You start driving. The couple is whispering in the back seat. Their words are sometimes covered by the sound of the radio, the street noise, and the motor. Idiot. The castle. You think we're going to sleep there? Yeah, but I don't know where to. You smile. Passengers always think you can't hear them when they whisper in the back of the cab. No big deal. The hotel is right next door anyway. Actually, though, you can hear everything. And the hotel of yours? I'm just not feeling it. Why? I'm just not, that's all. On their website, it looks old, with tiny beds. We can get a double bed. I'm just not feeling it. A moment of silence. What should we do then? We could ask him. Who? The driver. The boy raises his voice. What? Are you crazy? They glance at you, hoping you haven't heard anything. You must know some hotels, I'm sure of it. Go ahead and ask. He'll think it's strange. The guy's a taxi driver, I'm sure people ask him all the time. Me? Why me? You're the one that doesn't want to wait for my parents to leave us their place. That's not why, it's just that your room is too... Too what? You know, there are posters on the wall and, well... Oh, come on. Please. Stop with your excuses, you're just afraid of my old man. Awkward silence. Go on, ask. She rolls her eyes. Fucking loser. She looks at you. Hey, sir? You're looking for a place for the night? She turned towards her boyfriend, slightly embarrassed. Yeah. My boyfriend and I are looking for a hotel in Vincennes, something not too pricey but clean. With a double bed? No one cares about the bed, Antoine. Doesn't give a shit. I know a place. Really? One of my regulars owns a small hotel that would be perfect for you two. It's safe, discreet. The young woman hesitates for a moment, then slowly nods her head. Sounds good. They turn around, drive towards Carolina's hotel. The couple has begun whispering in the back again. You okay? We should have waited until my parents had left. Shit. I'm sorry. It's my fault. I tried to rush things and, Are you kidding? I'm the one who's in a hurry. They look at each other and burst out laughing. You're sexy. You're an idiot. They start laughing again. Seriously though, if you want to wait. We'll see when we get to the room. Yeah. They look deep into each other's eyes. You don't pay them any attention for the remainder of the ride. They continue cooing in the back. They warm the taxi up with their sweet words that float up to your ears. You stop the taxi in front of the hotel. It's clearly not a luxury hotel. The facade is unattractive, a plant is quietly dying in the Parisian cold. The couple hesitates to leave the taxi. This is it? She glances at her boyfriend. Let's just see how much it costs. We'll wing it. Yeah. They get out of the cab. The young lady hands you her fare through the window and walks away without saying a single word. They disappear into the hotel, nervously. Okay. Let's see, and I think with that, this is actually a good spot for us to end today's episode of Night Call. Hope you guys all enjoyed. If you guys have, make sure you guys leave a like, leave a comment. Tell me what you guys think of today's episode, of course. And if you're new to my channel or have been watching me for a little while and you haven't done so, feel free to subscribe to me, MadSquash924, and don't forget to ring the bell to get notified of my latest videos. On the next episode, we are going to be picking more passengers, gather more evidence, make some more cash so we can pay our rent, and hopefully find the killer of the Sandman. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.